P&M Homes came in town, and they built maybe over 1,000 homes. Now, had Pinelands been established when they came in town, half the houses wouldn't have been built where they were built. Wetlands and all that. Then in the 80s, Farm Home came in town, and they built over 1,000 homes. And you know what farm homes are, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then over the years, they took money from Mount Laurel, they took money from Morristown, because they didn't want the low-income houses, and the township, I guess, took, I don't know how it worked out.
Yeah, that was the regional contribution agreements, right? Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So you didn't mention Sunbury Village, which is probably 80% rentals, which was built in about 1955. It was for the retired officers and GIs that came back from the Second World War. In the place, there's a lot of great people there, but it's really run down. Right? So why couldn't they take the people that own the houses and rehab their houses?
Oh, you could under the rehab program.
Right, so we have Brownswood Apartments, which you say there's 60 people there. We've got Sunbury Village. We have low-income SSI across the Country Lakes Shopping Center. Then I don't know how many buildings are on Junction Road that are low-income and SSI. I think there's, what, 4, 5, 6 buildings? How does that fit into our equation of what we need, where personally, I think we exceed the number?
We do.
Yeah,
You do.
But I mean, really
Well-
exceed the number.
Well, the reason being is you have to have deed restrictions on the property. And of all those, the only one that has deed restriction is Brownswood. So that's what the state is looking for. And all those other homes that you talk about, while it's true that probably low and moderate income households occupy them, because they're not deed restricted, you won't get credit for those.
What we gotta do. See, when I first got elected, and Josh can verify it, there was 2 millionaires that owned maybe less than half of the houses in Sunbury. I'm talking about millionaires.
Mhm.
And they got a ton of money to rehab their houses. And my feeling, and I mean, you know, it's on record, I said, why would you take millionaires and rehab their rentals where there's people on the back street that have nothing? Why didn't they get the help? And then, because we had to vote to write it off after, was it 10 years?
Yeah,
I mean,
when
the
you do
system-
the rehab, that's
the
correct,
system
it's 10
is
years.
broke.
Well,
It's gonna lead into what Roland.
Yeah.
Well, all I can tell you is I'm trying to help you with the current set of rules, and, that we want to avoid any kind of, lawsuit. You're in a position where you will avoid a lawsuit. Many of the homes that you described that need the rehab, they're gonna be available, the monies are gonna be available for you. And in fact, two pots of money for that. You have the, Housing Trust Fund, and there's also, I believe, a small cities program that you can also do the rehab. So those folks who own those homes have to come in, be income verified, and then they have to agree to that 10-year, restriction on their homes. And they're eligible for it.
I just think that Pemberton Township is unique, because we've already, the farm home, this home, where our numbers shouldn't even be 50, I don't think.
Well, the way it works is, there are 3 factors that go into the calculation. So they have that estimate for future growth in the housing region. Then they look at, 3 factors. They look at your ratio of your, income to the housing region income. You're correct, it pulls you down. Then also your ratio of, non-residential value in real estate to the region. Again, you don't have a lot of non-residential development, so that keeps you down. What you do have, even though they only calculate this, on outside of the Pinelands, you have a little bit of developable land, and it's only, 200 acres is what they calculate, because I looked at the numbers. And so that pulls you up And so your share, came up to 79. But that's prospective, meaning future. So the way the rules are written, they don't look at what happened in the past, they're only looking at what's going forward, prospective in the future. But I agree, Pemberton's unique, it has the unique demographics in that regard.
It just hurts when you lose good farm ground to a warehouse or a housing development or a working farm. Detroit put 500 houses in on the west side of town, and what's gonna generate for this side of town?
Yeah. Well,
If you had your choice, would you make a left and go to John and Molly's or come to Brown's Mills and get a pizza and a massage?
well, all I can tell you is, we try to help you, to avoid, future lawsuits and protect yourself.
And Mr. Reps, I know you have another municipality to get to this evening.
Yes.
So in lieu of that, I only have really one question, and maybe Rosemary can help me out with it, but, I know we have, that $1.5 million, or $1.4 million in that rehab fund.
Yeah.
That'll be made available, when we
Well,
start.
it's 1.4 in your housing trust fund.
Housing trust fund, right? Will we, is it safe to assume we'll probably have a public meeting on that when we get that all figured out?
We definitely will.
There you go.
We definitely will.
Okay.
Generally speaking, Rosie, you know, next month or two.
We finished up the housing manual today, and I finished up the RFP that needs to go out for the contractors. We wanna make sure that we hire local contractors within Pemberton. So with that being said, that'll all be on the first agenda in April. We wanna roll the program out probably mid-April, at the end of April, latest.
All right. Perfect. And, whenever you said it's finished up, Rose, so we'll be able to get that over for Mark to peruse that probably sometime at the end of this week or beginning of next week.
So I sent the entire Affordable Housing Committee, the entire, manual, as well as the RFP that I worked on today.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. All right, does any other council members have questions for Mr. Remsen? All right, I know you got a short drive, Mark, over to East Hampton.
Yeah, I do. But it's not the John Avali's though. But I appreciate the comments and the sentiment, I do understand. All right, well, thank you, for the opportunity to present this to you, hopefully it's a little clearer, and, hopefully the outline is also helpful. Thank you very much for the opportunity,
Absolutely.
and also getting me on first, I really appreciate it.
Not a problem, thank you, sir.
All right,
Appreciate
have a
that.
good evening.
You too. Okay, so with that being done, we'll move on. Next up on the agenda is closed session. Do we have anything for closed session next? Okay, so we need to make need a motion to go into closed session.
Make a motion for closed session?
Second.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Hartford?
Yes.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes. And we'll be back as quick as we can, everybody, I'm sorry. Public comments, and I'll read the statement here. The council's intention is to preserve the level of respect, courtesy, and civility required to successfully conduct the public's business. In this regard, the council should be addressed during public participation as a collective body and not individual members. In order to respect the speaker's time, council members will not engage in a dialogue or debate with the speaker. However, council members should feel free to ask the speaker a question or questions once recognized by the council president for purpose of clarifications. Council members can offer comments on the speaker's remarks once the speaker has concluded his or her comments in their allotted 5-minute time frame. So, we've got a lot of people here tonight. I'm sure we'll see a lot of public comments. Who wants to come up first?
Marty's always first. I'll come first.
All right, Marty, come on.
Marty, you go. Okay.
Marty Graflinger, Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Good evening, Mayor. Well, the mayor's not here. Good evening, Town Council members and residents. I am Marty Graflinger, and I'm president of the BMIA. I'm here tonight to discuss the importance of our Clean Communities program and reflect on the progress we've made over the years. I recently came across an article from April 10, 1974, titled "Residents Urged to Fight Litter." This letter, written by the Browns Mills Improvement Association's Cleanup Committee, was an early call to action for our community. It stressed the significance of keeping our surroundings clean and emphasized individual responsibility for litter. It also mentioned the no litter ordinance in Pemberton Township, highlighting a collective effort needed back then. Fast forward to 1984, we had Shay Knuski, then Vice President of the BMIA, promoting the Clean Township program. Shay organized community cleanups that engaged local groups, including Brownie Troop 381 and Boy Scout Troop 138. Their successful efforts laid the groundwork for what we have today, a robust Clean Communities program that conducts 8 cleanups a year. Before Clean Communities got off the ground at the township level, the BMIA, Lake Valley Civic Association, Country Lakes Community Association, Polebridge Association, and Presidential Lake Civic Association did all the heavy lifting, 100% by volunteers. Their dedication and hard work established the foundation for our ongoing commitment to keeping the community clean. We have made significant strides since those early days. I remember a time when dog waste was a common sight, sitting on the ground and turning white. Kids had to navigate the dodgeball challenge of jumping over it on their way to school, hoping not to step in it. Thankfully, that mindset has changed. It's something that we can be proud of. Nowadays, we have dog waste stations at our parks, encouraging responsible pet ownership and making our community cleaner and safer. However, maintaining a clean community is a shared responsibility. If we want to improve the perception of Browns Mills, we must all work together, and I urge everyone to take ownership of the environment. This Saturday presents an excellent opportunity to pitch in at the Country Lakes Cleanup. Join us at the Country Lakes Fire Department at 8 a.m. for a morning of service. Please remember to sign in on the BMIA clipboard when you arrive. It's a great way to connect with your neighbors, and there will be free pizza and soda afterwards. I'd also like to highlight some upcoming events. This Sunday, we will host Coffee with a Cop featuring Chief of Police Jonathan Glass, who will address community questions and concerns. Everyone is welcome, and you don't have to be a member to attend, although membership is just $15 per family per year, very low price. Looking ahead, we have an open mic event on April 4th, and our AMPed event on April 27th will celebrate local talent with art, music, poetry, and dance. If you're interested in participating, please contact Tony Neely at 609-744-9938. In May, mark your calendars for a paint party with Debbie King on May 2nd and a yard sale on May 25th where members can get a free table to sell items from their spring cleaning at their homes. Finally, we'll have a 50 sock hop on June 6th, followed by our graduation luncheon on June 22nd to celebrate our members' graduating children and grandchildren with monetary gifts. If you have a graduate, please email me at bmiorg@gmail.com for more details. Thank you for your time tonight, and let's keep working together to ensure Browns Mills remains a beautiful place for all, and have a wonderful night.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you, Marty.
Lily Reynolds, 46 Rising Road, Browns Mills. I'm very grateful that we have a resolution on the agenda tonight, Resolution 114, to void Resolution 260, 2023, regarding the Sun Bank, or as we know it, Sycamore Hall. But I think it's important because I don't think that people understand how strange this whole transaction has been with that building, and I don't think there's a great understanding of how it came about. Sometime before July 24th of 2023, the company that ended up buying Sycamore Hall met with the mayor, the former BA, and the director of community development. On July 24th, 2023, they wrote a letter to those three same parties requesting to purchase with a detailed proposal. Pre-approved plans are in parentheses because that was in the letter that was written. Pre-approved plans at that time. They were going to do 3 apartments on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the building, and a tavern lounge and cafe eatery on the 1st floor. The next month, August 16th, 2023, they came before council and they made a grand presentation with great graphics about this. Now it had changed into a beer garden. At some point, it changed into 4 apartments, and there was an amendment done to the redevelopment act to allow that. But now it's gonna be a beer garden. On August 16th, when they made that presentation, the very same night, Resolution 260, 2023, the one that you're voting tonight, which hopefully will pass, it cited the potential owner as a company experienced in rehabilitating buildings and restoring them to use. During that presentation, which was widely publicized, the presenters were asked about their experience in doing this kind of thing, and one of the main presenters said, well, he used to own a luncheonette, so I don't know how well they were vetted to begin with. That passed the same night. On October 3rd, just a few months later, the contract was signed. They deposited $25,000 towards the property. On March 26th, and it's really important to note too, that in the presentation and in the later publications, they were very precise in saying that this would be a cash purchase, that there was no need to mortgage this property, that they were well aware of, that there would be they estimated the renovation costs at $250,000, and they had to cash to sustain that. On October 3rd, the contract was signed. They had the $25,000 deposit. On March 26th, they had settlement. $248,166 was wired to the current fund. The only signer on the contract was Mayor Jack Tompkins on behalf of the township. He was the seller. He was the only signer on the contract. $248,166 was wired to current funds. On April 5th, 2024, 2 second mortgages recorded. One for $480,000 and the other for $270,000, for a total of $750,000 mortgage, all in the name of a long-standing local charity in this town. It's been a very strange transaction. None of the conditions have been met that were in that contract. So if you void the redevelopment contract with them, you have to void the seller. You have to void the sale. I mean, I don't know how, it's very specific. The contract says sale and redevelopment. It doesn't just say redevelopment. They weren't just named the conditional redeveloper for that property. They were sold that property. It's a property for sale. There were other contingencies in there. They got contingent approval to use the parking spaces that are in the Veterans Park area. That was made part of the proposal, that they were conditioned, that they were able to use those when they got up and running as a business. Did you void that part? No, is that void or is that not void? You know, I don't know how you can do part of it. I don't know how you can, I'm glad that you're voiding this resolution. I think it's a first step, but I think it's gonna lead to further demise. They settled on October 3rd, March 26th of 2024. Nothing has been done to that building. The roof is leaking. We've had a horrible winter, and I pray every time I go by it that it's not falling in on itself. Nothing has been done, and part of that is our fault. Part of that is the township's fault. We bought it in 2019. We did nothing to secure it. We didn't fix the leaking roof. So, you know, my concerns are still there. I'm happy that you're moving towards something, but I don't know what's gonna happen if you just say, okay, you can't build on it till they had no approval by the planning board. They did not meet one condition of that contract for this whole 2-year period. And nobody held them to it. Nobody held them to it. Thanks.
Anybody else for public comment? Mr. Costa.
Good evening, council.
Please.
I don't know about you guys, but my mood's in a pretty good mood right now because that nice officer over there gave me one of his baseball cards. I just need to meet the other 70 officers we have to park the whole set.
You're here.
70.
Oh, man. I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you for putting the Resolution 114, 2025 on there. I think that we need to definitely pass that, so if you couldn't do that, I definitely suggest that. I just wanted to also backtrack a bit and say that from Resolution 104 through 106, I just want to ask, what are we amending in the budget? You know, are we, moving money around to different parts of a project within these three different building, different sectors, or are we extending the budget or anything? I'm sure, budget has to do with money. I would say yes to 107. I just have one question. How much are we refunding for the totally disabled veteran? 108, I would say yes. 109, definitely yes, because the opioid companies they're liable for what they have done to the entire country, and I think that we need to have our fair share of what they are owed through the lawsuits. Michael Thompson, I've been told he's a really good guy, so I guess, sure, I would give my consent as well. For the towing, for Resolution 111, does anybody know what towing firm we're going to be going with? You can answer that after. And I also just wanted to ask, since the mayor is going away for April, I've heard that he wants to appoint the Public Works Director as the temporary mayor for the month. Does that have to go through any of you guys for consent, or is he allowed to make that appointment?
It does not, it's his decision.
Oh. And that's it. Thank you. Look forward to that.
I can help him out with the towing if you'd like, sir. Yeah, you want me to take the budget ones first? And then
Sure, go
All
ahead.
right. So Alex, your first question is 104 through 106.
Yeah.
This is temporarily extending the budget. Right now, we don't have a firm budget. Council didn't approve one for this year.
Right.
So this is pretty much standard practice. As we wait for a budget, obviously those funds have to be replenished in order to continue operating the township.
Right.
So there's nothing going into, any kind of crazy stuff. It's just updating the operations and keeping us going. So that's 104 through 106. That's why they're usually approved until we get to the actual budget.
Do we have a time frame of when we're going to be doing the budget?
I wish I could tell you that. I know CFO, Ms. Pennywell may have an answer, but I don't think she does. But we'll ask. Hans, do you know when the budget is going to be prepared for council?
So the mayor and I would like to go over it one more time. We're pushing it to the beginning of next week so that Michelle can be in the meeting with us to go over that budget one last time before sending it over to you.
Okay.
And then I believe we'll be having a special meeting.
Yeah, we'll have a couple council will have a couple special meetings, probably like we did last year, Alex.
Yeah.
Where we'll be able to kind of we'll schedule some special budget meetings and just talk straight budget, which there's gonna be a lot of talks this year, so.
I understand.
Okay, Mr. Doyle, Councilman Doyle, you can.
Yeah, Alex, you had asked about the towing. We don't settle on one towing company. What happens is you have to submit a request to be on our list. Chief of Police goes out, as well as some of the delegated members. They inspect the properties. There's numerous requirements for safety, security, everything. Have to have a lot. You can't just go buy a tow truck and all of a sudden start towing for Pemberton Township. It doesn't work that way. We have a lot of heavy duty equipment that comes through this town, could be involved in an accident. So the companies that are here don't necessarily have to own that equipment, but they have to have a contract with a heavy duty wrecking company. The only name I can think of off the top of my head would be like Flynn's with those giant wreckers to handle loaded dump trucks, tractor trailers, things like that. So the towing companies within town that we utilize and have to at least have the capability of contacting somebody under contract and prove to the chief of police as well as the township that they have those contracts in place so they can handle anything at any given time. And then we settle on, I believe it was 4. There's 4 local contractors in town that are gonna be up for consideration and given the bid.
All right, well, thank you for your explanation, and
And with, you had the question on 107,
Oh, yeah.
so, I'm not sure the exact amount, and I don't think we can say that publicly anyway, could we? Did you say that? I think it was like $1,700 or something, right? It wasn't a lot. But the reason why I want to address this, there has been some chatter that Mr. Harper and I are anti-veteran, we're trying to do away with the exemption, which is bullshit. Yeah, it was before another meeting. Which is not true. I'm a veteran, so if I'm anti-veteran, then I have bigger issues. So, what Mr. Harper and I are working on is, in Trenton right now, there is a bill that was introduced, and actually they're meeting on it tomorrow, to reimburse municipalities for that exemption. So right now, we don't get reimbursed for the 100% property exemption that our veterans receive, 100% disabled veterans receive. But there is a bill that was introduced from the Assembly in Trenton. Hopefully that'll pass, because then the reimbursement that they're requesting is 102% back to the municipalities. And Pemberton and Willingboro are the two biggest that benefit from that exemption. So, just want to be clear that Mr. Harper and I aren't anti-veteran. We're not, I think it's a great benefit to have, but, this state should reimburse us, and hopefully they'll pass that bill.
Would you be able to send me the bill number when you have a chance?
Yeah, I'll forward it to you after the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Hi, good evening. My name is Justine Miller. I live at 311 Shoshone Trail. I have Girl Scout Troop 21072. I haven't been here for a few meetings because we had a terrible tragedy in our troop. One of the girls just recently lost her mother in a tragic accident. And I put it out there to the community that we needed some support to help her get through financially. And I just wanted to publicly thank everybody. They really came through for this girl. We were able to pay off her trip. They graduate next year, so I have 11th graders that most of them started as kindergarten, so they've been on this journey for a very long time. Really good group of girls. But we're supposed to be going to Iceland and Switzerland. That's what they had voted on as their final trip together. And the community came together, and we had enough money to pay off her trip, and some extra money that's gonna go in her senior account at school for prom, for graduation, and for her senior trip, if she'd like to go on that. But also there was other funds set aside for just the family, for a food train, to help them with bills, because they went from a 2-income family now to a 1-income family. And they did adopt 2 additional, a niece and a nephew from another family. So there's 4 children under this one roof. But I am extremely thankful of the support of the entire community for helping her. She is a great girl that just this horrible thing happened. But also moving forward, we just finished with cookie season. Also, thank you for the support. The girls did great, from little to big. Many of them met their goals. And in the spring, we're going to be doing like a Easter egg your yard. So I'm gonna be putting out some flyers. If anyone is interested, the girls will come out for a small fee and hide Easter eggs for your children or whoever wants to find them in the morning. It's a fundraiser, again, to support the troop for money for their earning of badges and for their trip. But the community has been great, and I just wanted to publicly say thank you. It was just a really terrible thing that happened.
Justine, are you still taking donations?
I am. Like I said, we did cover her trip with the troop, but yes, any donations that I'm currently still receiving, I'm going to put in her account at school for yearbook, for senior trip, for prom, for all of those things next year that might be difficult for her. And if there is an excess in that, she will get that money back for her, to go to college or whatever have you. So the money will never be wasted. It's all going, I'm making sure it's all going straight to that family. It was tragic. It wasn't anything expected. It happened in the middle of the night, and it was just awful.
Can't even imagine. So if somebody wants to make a donation with a check, who would they make that check out to?
They can make it out to my troop.
Okay.
I can,
Yeah,
just
21072.
troop 21072. It will go into our troop business account, which I have to account for with council. And that money will go directly to the family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pat Guthrie, 317 Birmingham Road. Good evening, council members.
Good evening, Mrs. Guthrie.
I was listening to the presentation. I caught the 79 house requirement. We pretty much got that covered for the affordable housing. And then, they were saying that there was like half of those, with the funds, half of the money goes to fixing up existing homes, for people that are in, I guess, financial need, and then half of the money goes to build as far as the, affordable housing. Did I catch that right? Okay, so I must have totally missed something. Could you explain to me how that works as far as the fixer-uppers and the building?
Yeah, is that your only question, Pat, tonight? or-
No, so that's,
Okay.
one of them.
Okay.
And then I was wondering the date, cause I heard June, I wasn't sure if it has to be everything's gotta be in place by June of 25. The next question I had, I believe you guys already answered it for 104, 105, and 106. Basically, it's just a, temporary, amendment for day-to-day operations until the budget goes through. It's not like, we're doing any kind of increase. That's the way I understood it. The 114, I hope that you guys do vote to void this, resolution with, for Sunbank. I think everything should be voided with Sunbank, and hopefully we can get that property back and use it for something beautiful for the community. And then I'm a little confused by 113, appoint ARH. I didn't think we were working with ARH anymore. So to appoint an engineer as a special project engineer, I was just kinda wondering about that. And those are my questions.
I'll jump on and with, probably with Rose's help here, jump on the funds for the account. So there's, I'll let the expert, because since we have the experts here tonight, I'm gonna put her on the spot and kinda let her explain it, so that way there you get the right explanation, Pat, so that way there's nothing's missed. But the 1.4 that we're speaking of, right, that's already in the housing account, right?
That's correct.
And that's the money that can be utilized to ultimately help out people that are in need of rebuilding their house if they qualify. Is that correct, Ms. Flair?
That's correct. They have to meet the standards of low income or moderate income families. So there is a standard you have to meet in order to qualify for the rehabilitation program.
And I believe it might be up to 10,000 per home.
Yes, we're looking at doing 79 homes at $10,000 apiece. We may be able to do more depending on what kind of work we're doing per house.
And my recollection is that, Roe, you told me, the $10,000 loan is secured by a mortgage, but after 10 years, if you're still there, the mortgage goes away.
It's really great because Brownsville's, a lot of residents can use that. And is that something that has to be in the works or registered by this June date?
So the June date is that we have to have a spending plan in place, per the state of New Jersey. That's what Mark's working on, but this will be part of it. and we will have this program up and running way before that.
So when can people start putting their applications in? Cause I'm quite sure there's a lot of them out there that are just waiting to be given the go-ahead.
So we would like to do a full marketing rollout, you know, and get this message out, because last year, it was one of the things I had a problem with the company that we were using. I didn't feel as though that information got out to the public. We would like to do a full rollout, but we'll have it on the website, so if anybody is, you know, listening or watching, please make sure that you're looking for, you know, news information right on the township website, because we're hoping like beginning of May, end of April.
Yeah, and Mrs. Guthrie, just to climb on the back of that, this subcommittee was talking about several different ways and aspects that we're gonna get that out to the community. So the book being one, obviously we're gonna need to explain that book. So I know we've gotten in touch with the school system, and I believe we're gonna try to get a full kind of, you know, Channel 14, I still call it Channel 14, I'm sorry, but explanation on Channel 14 at the school, where maybe that, you know, members of that subcommittee, along with Ms. Flaherty, would be able to explain what's in the book, so everybody can actually see that, and potentially do something on, you know, the YouTube Live situation and kind of get that video out there for everybody as well. So we're 100% transparent with the way that this is gonna work. And that way there, if people do call the municipality every day and say, hey, where's this money, where can I get, hey, go right on the YouTube video, or go right on this site, come in, grab a book, we're more than happy to share the information for it with you. If you qualify, here it is, here's the explanation, if you need more clarification, let us know, we'll help you out.
I think this is a wonderful thing that the township is doing for a lot of people that are in need. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And it's nice to have it recorded, and anyone listening to the YouTube can see what you guys are doing too. So the other two would be, well, the Sun Bank, that's just a hopeful thing, and the ARH engineering.
Mr. President, I'll take that one. Right. So you are correct, we're trying to get away from ARH, and we are. But there are 3 projects that they're too deep into right now. If we were to pull them off it, we'd have to start all over again at an additional cost with another engineering firm. So this resolution, we're gonna hopefully amend just to include the 3 projects that they have to complete. They're not gonna be the special project engineer across the board, just to complete the 3 projects that they're currently involved with.
Thank you very much, and Matt, I have a coworker that has a terrible crush on you. She told me every time I leave the office, she tells me to make sure I say hello.
Mr. President, if I could, we've now had a few people make a comment about the Sun Bank. I've been told, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm being told that there is a for sale sign up in front of that bank.
Yeah, Schneider Realty for sale.
Second of all, how nice is it for the public? This is something we've been pushing for, that when you have a question, we have the professionals here from the town. These 3 young ladies here are very, very capable to sit here and directly answer your questions. You don't have a mayor or an administrator telling you, I'll get back to you in a couple days when I get that answer. This is what we've been pushing for, and it's really nice to have it here tonight.
Anybody else?
You can call me Mark.
Mark.
Mark Thomas, 34 Northwoods Road in New Lisbon. Mr. Rems's presentation, if I understand correctly, is that for the prospective affordable housing units, which equaled 79, that Brownswoods would provide 60 of those for future need.
Right.
Now, he said then that 24 to 26 could come from Greenberg. But then in looking at places like Sunbury Village, and I didn't quite get this because I don't know what kind of an easement he was talking about. Apparently there needs to be an easement appended to the deed on the places where they would receive the funding.
Deed restriction.
Deed restriction, and the restriction would state?
That it has to be for affordable housing purposes for 30
Okay.
years. So if that person were to sell it, they have to sell it to someone who is still, again, income eligible, and that gets resolved through Mrs. Blackbeard, through the CD director's office, and they figure that out.
Now, is there a time restriction on how long does it take for there to be an easement put on? And would that process be able to be put in place before, in order for it to count as a, one of those? Because what I'm thinking of is I don't think that we should strap Greenberg with these.
Well,
No, I'm just saying that you could meet your requirement without doing it at Greenberg, correct?
Yes and no. I mean, from what I understand, Mark, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be doing, is this like, you got a couple other questions to go, or is this like your main topic here is the affordable housing?
Today, there's one minor thing.
Okay,
Otherwise.
so, from what I understand, speaking with Mr. Remsen, right, 'cause I speak with him quite often, and we went around and we identified, through the subcommittee, okay, well, you got a big block chunk of houses or apartments here, right, and you got another big chunk here, you got another big chunk there, right? So, we're banking on the Greenberg Farm houses right now, because that satisfies the state requirement as it sits,
Yeah.
right? Even though they're not built,
Okay.
it's easier to go after those big chunks than it is to go after individual locations, right? Because you're getting credit for certain things, especially with the 55 plus community, right? You're getting a little bit of extra, so instead of 24, we're getting 26, right? So with Brownswood's Apartments, we're getting a 60 there, it's a huge win, right? So that's why we're doing that. There's obviously, like Councilman Dewey pointed out, the Golden Pines or Golden Terrace, right? So there's some in there, right? That would count for that, but we don't need to necessarily utilize that because we only need 79, right? So if we bank, let's say we bank, like Mark was saying, we're up to 86 units right now, we're exceeding the threshold, which is called even math, by 10 units, right? Then we can carry over some of the things that we may not have utilized this time around, we might be able to utilize next time around, don't know.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Any more news on the college property?
No, but the only thing I will say about the college property is this, right? So obviously they're utilizing that acreage for open space swap in Mount Laurel, we all know that.
Right.
However, in speaking with the township planner, and Mr. Remsen, we're gonna have to make a move on that piece of property sooner than later in order to identify what zoning we wanna put that into, okay? So there's still developable property there.
No.
So what we, I think with the help of the community development director, and Mr. Remsen is, hey, we need to get on this now, right? So we control that, we're in the driver's seat, and come up with a development plan for that piece of property, and go, hey, look, if anybody wants to come in here, it might be owned by the county, but you're gonna follow the township's redevelopment plan. So that's gonna be something that's gonna have to be done sooner, I think, than later, because there is gonna be some acreage there that's gonna be able to be developed, I would assume.
Do you know what the acreage will be?
I do not. I don't have an actual number, nor would I give it if I didn't know.
Okay. The only other thing I would say is that, one of my avocations is natural history and birds. And I have the best birding ears in the township, I think. That's not a brag, that's just a fact. But anyway, what I'm saying is that if anybody ever has a question about birds, they can always get in touch with me. I'm easily found, and the other thing that I'm happy to do is to lead tours, birding tours, or nature walks for any group who would like. I'm a little bit footloose. So that's all I want to say, and I'm grateful that you're all here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen. Mr. Ward. I plan on speaking tonight. I do have a question first before my statement. The $10,000 that's gonna be given, I think, this is yours. Hi. The $10,000 that's gonna be given to each person. I think it's wonderful. Is it gonna be followed up to make sure that the work is done, and who will be overseeing the actual construction of that work? That we wanna make sure that it's being spent properly, and not just pocketed and 10 years it's washed away.
So in the RFP that I drafted today, it says that all contractors are responsible to get the permits, and they obtain the CA or the CO when the job is done. They can't get payment from me until they bring that information to me, so we're
Needed
making
a
sure.
great answer, wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
I wanna follow up a couple things. You said that there's a for sale sign in front of One Clubhouse Drive, I understand, and it's Schneider Realty. I sure hope the Township Council takes that building back before that is allowed to be sold by them. If you do some background work, there's a Calvin Bushrod that has his name, everything, all over every one of those contracts. And he works for Schneider Realty. It all started with the house that was sold in Country Lakes. They purchased for $240,000 or $225,000, I think it was. 260, well, I was way off, wasn't I? 260. And less than a year later, it was sold for $580-some thousand. Now, I don't know about how many of you know that many houses in Country Lakes had sold and made that kind of profit in less than a year. At that time, that's when the bank was purchased. Also, I mean, some of the things Murray said, there's a lot more detail in that. As far as the loan that was secured, no money ever exchanged hands with that nonprofit. And it's a shame. We actually went and talked to the gentleman. So there's a lot of things that are going on. I really hope you pull that bank back and get that back to where it should be. And that's in the hands of Pemberton Township and the residents. To what it's supposed to be, and what it was originally drawn for. If I'm not mistaken, that road's supposed to be cut off, and it's supposed to go all the way out to the lake, am I correct? And made into a beautiful place for the residents. I just hope you really look at that and really vet these people. It's too late now, though, to take the bank back. Thank you.
With that being listed for sale, Mr. Ward, do we know what Snyder's has on there for the listing?
We just looked it up, it's not any place that we see online.
No.
No, it's not posted,
Yeah,
either
the sign
through
only went up
Schneider.
after 2:00 today, so.
Went up after 2?
Yeah, I was by there just before 2, and it wasn't up, and it was up when I came to the meeting.
Cause it's like the other bank that's in town too, that was listed as an auction, and it wasn't an auction, I had looked into it. So there's just a lot of shady, listings and whatnot that are going on in town that really need it. Now you notice the signs down at the bank once, I had inquired about it, and there really wasn't an auction there, it was being sold outright. But okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Pat Iverson, 59 West Hampton Street. One of the ones I had a question on was the authorizing a grant application for the West End Park for stream bank stabilization for almost $200,000. When are we gonna quit throwing good money after bad over there? Do we have an engineer that knows what they're doing, or somebody in DPW that knows what they're doing and knows what grades are, or how to run a laser, or check grade stakes, or benchmarks, or anything? Because that place is a disaster. And on the same note, is that what ARH is for special engineer, which I hope not? And the other question I had was on the Lima for resending that. For what reason did we have for that?
I gave you some answers there, Pat. 97, I would agree with you, that's all I can say.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just, yeah, you know, there was some back and forth. I got some emails from DPW this week, our director there. What I can say is the email that I got back was informational. And, you know, he had said that the hydro seeding, didn't happen, that contract was canceled.
Which we had talked about way back when, and I said we could do that back then with a little bit of perennial rye and call it a day.
Right.
But that never happened.
Yeah, so we'll see how that one goes tonight. You know, as far as ARH, no, I don't believe that they're not gonna be involved with it if anything happens at West End Park. That's
Okay.
not.
No,
that's
just
not the
curious.
situation. Yeah,
It was in there.
And then what was your other question, Pat? What other one?
On the limo.
The limo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are some, issues with the sewer lining, contract, I believe, right, Jerry?
But, that, the last month, it was, our last meeting, resolved to have Limo be the engineer for the sewer lining project on Lakehurst Road. But procedurally, we can't approve that resolution appointing them until the money's in the budget to appoint them. So we're rescinding it for now. Let's wait until the budget's approved.
Not a problem with the limo themselves. I mean, they're a
No.
pretty good engineering firm.
Not at all.
So, all right, no, I was just curious. The other one, I guess, which would go to the park, which I didn't mention, was we're subbing out the mowing and, grass keeping or whatever you wanna call it for certain parks and whatever. We have DPW that, you know, why are we subbing it out? That is,
Well, I think the answer, there you go, but Mr. Dewey could probably speak to
They
that.
don't have enough help in the summertime. They don't have enough help, and they try to get summer help. The contract to affordable is all the ball fields, the municipal building, anything that people are gonna use instead of having a bunch of kids out there with scissors, you know, doing it right.
all right, just, you know, seems like it said we have people in place that we're paying in the township to, would be able to
Basically,
do.
Pat, we couldn't pay one full-time guy
Right.
for what they're contracted to do this for.
Which is fine, if it's cheaper going that route and subbing it out, I'm good with that, it was just a question of, like I said, I see him mowing over in Lake Valley out front, why can't
One
they do?
full-time employee with benefits would be more than what this contract is.
All right, fair enough, thank you.
I am Vicki Adams from 613 Sandra Drive. I waited because I wanted to make sure any of my questions were answered by everybody else, so that you get my time to what I want to say. Two things. I know about the money that is available and stuff. In fact, I spoke with Ms. Flattery and stuff. I did not know that it's only $10,000, because when I was signed up with the original thing, it was $25,000. And that's what the contract to bid, all of that was approved for. So that disappoints me, because now I'm gonna have to go back and figure out, okay, what is first has to be repaired, you know? So, also, I sent you guys all an email back on March 7th, asking you to go to the governor's office together as a unit, and asking for a for them to, remove Jack from office based on a no confidence in moral aptitude caused by initial investigation report, multiple lawsuits, and failure to uphold his duties. As of today, from what I understand, one of those lawsuits have been settled and he was found guilty. Yes, it might only be civil, but it is a moral ineptitude. Okay? I really feel that, I know people behind me and everybody has their opinions, I can still be your friend, but, he needs to go. I wish there was a way to get a group of people from town to go to the governor's office. I don't even know how to go about doing it. Otherwise, I would go up there myself and take some people with me, because he has to go. And you guys are the only ones that are gonna be able to do this. At this point, you know, I did what I could do last year, it didn't work. But
he's still destroying this town. He's not, you know, we can't even go forward. You said at the last meeting, I believe it was the last meeting, that you're not working with him anymore. You know, if you're not working with him, we're not gonna be able to go forward as a town. So there's no reason that you can't ask the governor to step in and say, hey, we did everything we can, we're at our wits' end, how do we get out of this? Or how do we get him out? And, I'm just asking you to step up, and I know you guys all have jobs. I know you're all very busy, and I respect each one of you. But this is a whole town that's depending on you 5 guys. And I think that this is a step that you need to make our town better. He's not gonna be here for a month. And who's the person that he is, asking to replace him? Is this person for the month gonna do anything any better? Or is it possibly gonna make things even worse? You know? Again, that's all I'm gonna say. I still will not, go back on my feelings that this man is evil. Bottom line, evil.
Council President.
Mr. Harper.
Vicky, I guess as you know, we got your emails. I did reach out to those assembly people in our district and Senator Tiger's office and explained the situation to them, and none of them ever got back to me. As far as going to the governor's office, I haven't done that. That's all I can say about that at this time. I do agree with you though, with that last thing you said.
How are you? Good.
Good to see everybody. I have a couple of things. I wasn't even gonna speak, but, the Yellow Bank, just keep in mind that the copper's all been stripped out of there, that it would probably take a heck of a lot of money to get that building to a desirable state. Of course, I don't wanna see it gone. I love our history. And it needs to be either sold to somebody that's gonna take care of it, or we need to get some $1 million grants from somewhere. I wasn't successful in winning the lottery so that we could save the Woolston house on 206, because that would cost $2 million to save. The house was built in 1710. It's a shame. We have to do the best we can to save what little history we have here. The other thing I want to say is this form of government, and I know it well, I sat there for 9 years, attended many meetings before and after, is very different than the committee form that we used to have. And I had encouraged council members to make sure they find out what their responsibilities are and their limits in this form of government. So I know when I saw the ordinance from last month that was originally 1980, well, that was developed under the committee form of government, not this form. So I had a couple questions about how that was. So I'm encouraging you still. You should all be working together. The law gave the opportunity to get a recall for the mayor. Didn't happen. And I tell him the same thing. This is nonsense. It's embarrassing to our community. For the whole community. And I know Perry was there one night when I was threatened to have our former mayor removed because he was out of line in a meeting. Thankfully, I didn't do it because I didn't want him to go after Perry. But there are different sets of rules for this form of government. Just be careful you don't get yourself into situations. And I'll give you an example what I got myself into. We had our our fire departments. They were fighting with Dave. They called me and asked if I would meet with the presidents just to hear what they had to say. I went to meet with the presidents, we sat back here, half an hour, I got my butt chewed. Not my job, not my authority to do something of that nature, which I've never told anybody I wouldn't talk to them or listen to their concerns. So I do know, I know you guys want to do what's best for our community. I believe that 100%. Just be careful. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry.
Good evening.
Erlene Alexander for Chicmont Run. I'll start with the easier questions. Who would I reach out to get a road repaved? And then my next question is 1/18/2025. This has been going on for a while. Why are we rejecting all bids? Are we gonna start all over? Because I thought phase one was like in process and almost finished, but I see here that it hasn't even started yet. So I just wanna make sure we're not giving up on that project. And then, lastly, a statement. I hear everyone talking about the mayor. So, a lot of people in our township, you see the regular faces here every Wednesday at the council meeting. I actually mentioned Jack to someone, and they said, "Who's that?" I'm serious. They said, "Who's that?" And I said, "Well, he's the mayor." And they're like, "Oh." So we really have to get out and get people to be aware. You know, first, know who the mayor is. Second, come to the council meetings. It shouldn't be the same faces over and over. We should have much more and more people coming up forward and talking about this. And I should never have to have someone who lives in the community close to me saying, "Who's that?" when I mention their mayor. So we really have to get some kind of word out. I don't know how, but we really have to go door to door, just saying, "Hey, this is going on." So I'm laughing, but it's really not funny because it's so serious that this person said, "Who's that?" And he's been mayor for what, 2 years? Yeah, it's awful. And if you need help with knocking on doors, just let me know at another Wednesday meeting.
Well, Mrs. Alexander, were those your questions, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
that was it.
So I will take a couple of them for you. The 1/18/2025, there was some problems with the RFP that went out, and the folks, basically the folks that bid on it, has some issues, I believe, with the state, right? Is that correct? Correct. Yeah, go ahead, help me out there.
We awarded the contract for this to a Diamond or somebody or other. And it was the third time it was bid, as I recall. Diamond was a low bidder, and we awarded that contract a month or two ago. We were thereafter advised, and Rogan fill in the blanks, by the Division of Civil Rights of the town, of the state, that they had some procedures that are required for this grant that the bidder didn't yet do. So they told us effectively, you gotta reject it, come back and do it again. And then whoever the successful bidder is, will have to comply with these regulations. But they gave the low bidder, Diamond, the opportunity to appeal their decision that we had to void this resolution. They had a hearing about it yesterday, whereby the low bidder gave his pitch as to why he was compliant and therefore he should get the bid, which at this point he still has. This resolution to reject that bid was put on there at the Division of Civil Rights requirement. But I think the council's gonna pull it tonight, because the hearing that they had yesterday, we've not heard yet from the Division of Civil Rights whether the low bidder is successful in getting the civil rights people to change their mind. Does that sound right, Rob?
That's right.
Yeah. So at this point, it's still the low bidder. As far as we're concerned, you should do the work. We're not gonna reject the bids tonight. We still gotta put it to the side and before, so that we can know whether or not his request for a rehearing was approved or not. So we'll probably know something in 2 weeks.
And as far as the road repaving, you know, you can always make a request or an ask to the Department of Public Works, who takes care of our repaving, Mrs. Alexander. So if you do have any, or find out anything, I believe I live on your end of town too. You know, I'm still waiting on Second Avenue to be repaved for 2 years, so. You know, I think we're both waiting for something that hopefully, I haven't seen a repaving schedule for 2025 or 2026 as of yet, but hopefully we'll get there soon.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council President, yeah,
Yeah,
we
Mr.
talked, Matt and I talked to the head of the road department Monday or Tuesday, and they said they wouldn't have that list of roads out until after the budget. But yeah, it wouldn't hurt her to put your name in there.
Good evening, everybody. Mike Salko.
Good evening, Mr. Salka.
92 Straight Down Road. First, all about everyone that wants to get rid of mayor, fire mayor. If there's enough people, there's a process called a recall. Get your people together, start a petition, and do the process instead of just coming here and bitching all the time.
We did it.
Well, if you can't get the signatures, then there's not enough support.
There wasn't enough vote.
Okay, I'm talking. All right, next, people who wanna buy the bank and everything, the town to take the bank back. Stop buying property just to hold on to it. It's a commercial property, it's a private property. Why should the town buy it and not get taxes on it to be able to use for other stuff? Going into that, get taxes on it so that when we do this next budget, you can maybe actually afford to put in for an animal control officer. I have not seen yet that Pemberton Township has listed who their humane law enforcement officer is. I don't know if Pemberton has one, if they've had anyone go in training. That's illegal, that's against the state law, to not have one designated. They have New Jersey Animal Control contracted to do animal control. Your website says that their services are 24/7, but it depends on the police supervisor at the time. If it's after hours, I've heard lots of reports that they tell the person, if you can't hold on to the dog, let them go. Just let them go. Let them go out in the streets and run around, because you can't keep them in your house because you have another dog or something. I've heard those reports. I don't know how often that happens. Maybe we need to Oprah every single dispatch call that comes in for animals on the loose and see what the results are. But we used to have animal control, actual employee. We don't anymore. There's a ton of dogs always on the loose. You always see the reports. It's getting warm again. There's gonna be more. It's just a matter of time till one of those dogs bites somebody, and we don't know who they are, because I will guess that half the dogs out there are not licensed. We do have, I know there's an issue, I know we have all the free rabies shots, we have the clinic and everything, but no one goes back and checks, oh, there's a Pemberton address on this rabies thing. They got 4 dogs that they got free shots for, but their address has 0 licenses registered. No one goes and says anything to them. And we should also look at maybe, if you're not spay neutered, that the license fee should be higher, because there's a lot of backyard breeding going on out there. Make the licenses a lot higher if your dogs are not fixed, so you can register as a breeder and items like that. There's lots of stuff. This town is a mess when it comes to animals at large. But what do we get? We get the police putting on Facebook, oh, don't feed cats. fund and all that. I know they're talking about something at TNR, but there's a bigger problem than just the cats. That's it.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I need to talk.
Council President.
Mr. Harper.
I
Oh,
can address the
wait, I do
animal.
have one more, I did forget one more thing. These gates need to get removed. Talk to code enforcement. That gate's okay, that one and that one, those are fire hazards. They don't swing the right direction for you to get out if there's a fire there. They should be removed tomorrow.
The state already came in, I understand.
All right.
But they said what he said is not true.
Hold on. Madam,
hold on one second, please.
Twenty-five is there.
Madam, please, okay, we have a process here.
Okay.
Okay, please, if you'd like to make a public comment, okay, do it, sign in, state your name.
This is my first meeting and I've been here for.
And yes, we're not done with Mr. Salke yet, so we do have to answer his questions.
As
before they're-
far as the animal control goes, we do have, part-time animal control officers working diligently, because I've been talking with them and giving them little tips. We do have a leash law, we do have a animal at large law, and they're out there, they're trying to be nice, give people, warnings the first time out and stuff, but they are out there working. You can call the police non-emergency number, and they will get somebody out to take care of it. And we still have, I believe it's the county doing, it until June, also, but, our part-time people, I believe, are working out, and if you call their number, they'll get out and take care of it. I think Amy might be able to address the dog licenses issue. People get rabies shots, they have to have a license, correct?
Yes, as I stated, our dog licenses have picked up since we now have our own animal control officers. I believe actually we have a full-time and a part-time, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Okay, your website still says that you're contracted with NJ.
We are still
We are.
contracted
Yes.
with JAC until the end of June.
And Mike, I know you do, I believe you do like legal stuff as well, right? And for a background, if you find anything with that fixed animal stuff, from an ordinance perspective, I can take a look at. I'd be really interested to see that, because that might be a way to increase some revenue there, and that actually makes sense to me, but I don't know how enforceable that would be, so we've,
Our dog licenses are currently $3 more for an unspayed or neutered animal,
Cool.
but
All right,
that
so we're all
$3
set.
goes to the state. So I don't know if we are allowed to raise it more than that, and we can look into that.
Okay, all right, cool,
I don't know if
thanks.
we're allowed to have a different dog license.
Gotcha.
There's a minimum you have to give to the state, anything above that you get to keep, so if you wanna raise more revenue, you can, but then you'll get that thing.
We can look into that. Sometimes we can't. We're not allowed to charge more than what the state allows us to charge for.
Other towns charge more, how do they get away with it?
As I said, Mr. Sokol, we can look into it.
All right.
Mr. President, if I may. Mr. Salk, I happen to be present on 2 ACO calls within the last couple of months. And I gotta tell you, the 2 officers that we have are exemplary. I just sat back and watched what he was doing. One was for somebody who just decided to throw their deceased dog in the cage, just on the side of the road. When that young man showed up, which was very timely, I could tell that, and I'll even go and say her name, Sergeant Fallon, I believe, is the one in charge of the ACOs, and the training they're receiving is top notch. And the levels of investigation this young man told me that he was going to do, I was very impressed. 18 years on the force, I was very impressed with his levels of investigative skills already, and apparently he's new. And I've seen the other one, our female ACO, and exactly the same thing. Her investigative skills, her commitment to follow-ups, they are inundated with calls. But the fact that they can go out and do multiple follow-ups on a single complaint is impressive with the number of calls that they have. So they are very, very good at their jobs, and they're being led very well.
That's good to know. It's just the 2024 budget shows salaries for animal control of $112,000. So that's, I don't know how you can get full-time animal control for $12,000.
Excuse me, can he be on record when he talks up, because I'm liking what I'm hearing.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good. I'm just letting you know that's what I see
You have no
on
idea
paper.
what you're talking about.
I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what's on black and white paper.
Well, he didn't know.
Okay, Michelle, we're not gonna have a back and forth, and we're not gonna get this room out of order. There's a process, I explained that.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to everybody.
I thought you said Michelle.
Okay, Is there anybody else that would like to come up for public comment?
Okay, I hope you're not talking to me.
Michelle, one more word, and I'm gonna have the officer remove you from this room.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. I'm doing the best that I can up here tonight with the rest of these council members. I would like to have some order and move through the meeting, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody in general. My name is America Phillips. I've been living in the township for 45 years. My first question will be in reference to the leaves. I noticed in the past, everybody knew, they put in the paper, this month is going to be MPL, this month is going to be over here, or this week, whatever. But for some reason this past year, they changed that. I'd like to know whose idea was that one. Because I be honest with you, me walking every day, I didn't see the leaves are sitting since December and that's there. I know what you want to tell me. Okay. I did part of my leave because I pay people to come and do my leave. Well, because the neighbor doesn't rate theirs, I gotta rate their leaves. Okay. What I noticed, like I stated, in the past, this month is Pierre or this week, whatever, automatic the people already know to put the stuff there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 6 months, what I hear, that we gotta call the township. You're changing that. That's not right, because right now, April will come in pretty soon. I don't know, I see the truck guys coming up in PL. Guess what? Big truck, 4 workers. See the leave? They go bye-bye. Why they go bye-bye? Because this township made it that you gotta make the call, make the appointment for them, and that's not right. Pick it out the leaves and just put it there. They do what they want them to do. I'm 80 years old and I'm still picking leaves and bagging leaves. But they put it out there for a reason. But the trucks go by there, big trucks there. Hey, if I was a worker in those trucks, wait a minute. There is 40, 50 bags there. Take it. They pay taxes. We pay taxes. Tomorrow morning, I really want to call very early my people, the public work. I know they work until 3 o'clock or 3:30, whatever. Can you tell me exactly the schedule for the public work, if I'm not mistaken, is for 7 to 3? Or that's not true? Okay, when I say to 3:30, okay. Now, what I noticed when Mr. Renzer was talking in reference to the affordable houses and here in low-income houses, I'm going to be honest with you. In my 45 years, I used to be a paper delivery before I went and worked for the state. Everybody's in the low income. But wait a minute, when you go and pass a house or the apartment, I'm going to take a Golden Terra for example. I know that people living there and they not a low income. They not on the bottom. They are high there. Why? Because nobody bothered and investigated these people. And our township gotta be strict and go and find it out. You want an affordable house, affordable apartment, guess what? Make an investigation, and you are able to. It's not right for us, the taxpayer, to carry the load. I leave it there. Okay, I'm only speaking in reference to the Sycamore Hall. And it said, I just hope that we can get an historical building. I guess this is the only few things we got here in this town. There is grants in there The people getting grants. And this is historical building when we get it. And we can apply for the grant. We got the special people, we pay plenty money, taxpayers pay for that plenty money, they can write grants. I don't have that education, but I know that it's all the people, whoever works here, they got some kind of the education. I leave it there. Okay, I've been asking for no litter sign, please. I clean the highways, I clean the road. Saturday Country Lake, and I know where I'm going and choose my place. Country Lake and Spring Lake Boulevard. Why? Because I can work 4 hours there and I fill it up bags and bags. Okay, and I yes about my leave in the apartment. They have to do an investigation, the affordable housing, because it's not right for us to carry the load. The only thing I can read about in the paper is affordable house in Pemberton Township. I used to be a paper lady in the past. I saw the Brownswood apartment was the top of the line. I found that out that no, they are the low income. We have to do an investigation in every single person who live in those places. If this is true, how much money did you bring in? Thank you. Now you can answer me when I will sit down.
Thank you, Margaret. Sure, yeah, go ahead.
America, 2 years ago, Josh Ward and myself, on our time, we got quotes for 2 leaf back machines for this town. We got the videos, the quotes, the price, and everything. And it was a 3-man operation, one driving the truck. It was a 40-yard container that picked up and ground up the leaves and blew them into the container. The third person would go around with a rake and just pick up stuff, you know, where it got blown around. And between the mayor and public works, they refused us to purchase it, they didn't want it. So with the 2 machines, they only would have needed 6 men. They would have never had to lift a bag that's soaking wet, over 35 pounds of leaves, and throw it in a truck. The guy on the machine would have been sitting in a chair with joysticks, all hydraulic, but they'd rather spend that year, what was it, $80,000 for garbage trucks. So, we've tried.
Done, can I talk now or what?
Yep.
My name is Michelle Foreman. And I just wanna say that I'm allowed to talk whatever I want to for 5 minutes, and nobody can interrupt me, and nobody can try to silence me, correct? Okay, at least somebody's shaking their head yes. First of all, I do not appreciate being threatened to have a police officer escort me out of this room for a minor infraction, as far as I'm concerned. I was here a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, and somebody was interrupting my share, and people told me to ignore her and keep going. Nobody said anything to her. But I say a small thing after other people were clearly speaking loudly in this room. And you're gonna call me out, Mr. Ward? I'm just, you don't have to answer me, I'm just sharing my thoughts.
Michelle,
You can tell me later.
I'd like to answer.
I just wanna finish, then you can talk later, because I had a great day, it was a beautiful day. I feel like I'm a loyal neighbor, I always say that. I feel like I'm a respectful citizen. I feel like, trust me, I'm not well. I'm doing my best to fight something very difficult, if you know what I mean. And I show up at these meetings, and I feel like leaving sometimes, I do. But I sit here, you know why? Because I wanna hear what you have to say, because you sat there for hours listening to us. And I feel like I respect each and every one of you, and I've supported and voted for each and every one of you. I would have done more for you all if I could have. And I don't regret at all voting for you. you're doing a great job. I can't believe how courageous you are. I'm watching you. Okay? And of course, it's always, I have no regrets voting for you, Mr. Doyle. Your father is a great man. Do you know when I came here, I didn't know anybody? Your father always showed me courteous and respect at the school board meetings, and I had 5 kids going through that school. And I have a lot of things to say tonight, but I'm totally distracted. I feel like I got disrespected. I didn't appreciate it. Hold on. I have other questions and things that I really wanted to talk about. So I just guess I'll pick one. I'll pick one thing to talk about. I was at the park, I've been telling you guys about, and somebody had their dog, and they were throwing the ball at him, which I'm so happy. If you have dogs, I love that you're taking them out to exercise, okay? But the dog was getting closer and closer to me as I'm trying to exercise on the exercise, what do you call them? Stations, okay? And the dog's getting closer to us. It was a real spectacle. You should have seen me. I'm not even gonna tell you. I had to climb up a ladder to get away from this dog. But anyway, I talked to a friend of mine who went there 2 hours later, and he got cursed out because two other people were, some other lady was throwing balls at 2 dogs, okay? There's a leash law. You can't do that. I want you to be able to do that, and I want to see you guys work to find a place to do that. At that park, there's plenty of space that you can put a fence. Rosemary, I don't know if you have anything to do these type of things. You could fence over there, and you could throw balls to your dog and get exercise for you and your dogs, and I'll be happy about it, but not where you're trying to concentrate on an exercise station, you know, at 7:30 in the morning.
So I don't have anything to do with
Okay.
that, but I will let the chief know that your concerns, I will follow up tomorrow.
Okay, well, thankfully, the man, Mr. Saka, oh, he's still here. We have 2 part-time animal control officers. And as Perry said, this girl, her name is Kat. I didn't talk to David, I think the other man's name is David. I didn't get to meet him yet or talk to him, but this girl, Kat, was exemplary. I mean, she didn't know the license. I tried to get his license plate, I couldn't find it, he's cursing me out. But I got, and he cursed the other grown man out. A lady was cursing a grown man out 2 hours later at the same park. Just because, you know, she tracked that guy down with the 2 dogs. And anyway, I only have 5 minutes, so I can't say all the details. But in that, I'm gonna close out on that. I am sorely disappointed. Sorely disappointed because I got this treatment with the Democrats. And I had to tell Mr. Gardner off quite a few times for threatening me to kick me out of this room. And I don't think I was acting that. I mean, that was definitely an overreaction. And I feel like I've been targeted tonight by you. And it's gonna take a long time for me to forget that. I will remember that. Thank you.
I wasn't gonna speak tonight, I enjoyed listening to everyone. I wanna say that I thank you for the 5 minutes, because I went to Southampton meeting yesterday, and they only give you 3. So I appreciate the 5 minutes. I have a couple, two questions, and I guess I need you to explain something to me. The gentleman that spoke that said, get the petition, blah, blah, blah. People have come in the past to fight against something that they believed in, even if it wasn't the mayor. They did their fighting, they showed up, and I guess with different people on council, they felt that they wasted enough time coming to meetings because nothing changes anyway. I heard from several residents that I stopped when I was trying to get people to come out and know what's going on, and they said, you know, give up, because we're not coming. We had the battle with the township already and we're not interested. So, you know, people have been burned in the past, have been doing what we've been doing, you know, year upon year, and nothing's changed, so, you know, it's important that they get out, if somebody gets back out there and encourages people to come back out. It's not one person's job. I watched, last week's meeting with Mr. Ellie, if I'm saying his name right, and I don't understand, I thought he was trying to get a different building, but needless to say, I don't understand, maybe you could explain it to me, why he can't buy another property, why he is being closed off by the mayor, and why the mayor can give no explanation of why he is saying no to the sale. He's not the president, he's a mayor. So I understand the petitions of getting him out and whatnot, but what gives him that control out of 5 people that can vote one way and the mayor has 1 vote and it obsoletes your 5? So explain to me how he can get away with that. And apparently the man has been in the township for a long time. He has been part of the community. People love him. Why is this happening to him? That's all I got.
Josh,
Sure, back to it.
so, that's a really good question, but there is really no answer. In our form of government, the mayor has control, and he controls all real property in the township. We have no say in that at all. If we did, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. We don't understand why he will not, allow Mr. Ellie to have that property. When asked, he just says, I'm not gonna talk about it. We
Okay.
never get a straight answer.
Isn't there a legal right for him to have to tell you why?
No. Unfortunately, no. In our form of government, he is the CEO of this company called Pemberton Township, and he is the ultimate decision maker when it comes to a transaction such as selling a piece of township property.
Okay, but wasn't there an agreement with Mr. Ellie to take care of him in transition of wherever they were gonna place him to begin with? And if they don't have a place to transition into, then he shouldn't be stopped from trying to buy something and stay in the community.
The agreement that the township signed with the buyer a few years ago says that the township will assist in the cost of relocating anyone there, and the township will get reimbursed by the buyer for those expenses. So if, for the sake of the discussion, Mr. Ellie were to find, forget the EMS building for a moment, if he were to find another place in town that he wants to move to, generally speaking, the town will be required to, and I think would voluntarily, hopefully happily, help him move.
Okay, well, he is trying to at least go to buildings that are already there, not trying to build a building from scratch. And it seems like a lot of the vacant buildings seem to be owned by Pemberton Township.
Ms. Roy, you're looking at 5 individuals up here who have personally, one at a time and collectively, asked him to sell that building to Mr. Ellie. And as Mr. Bianchini just told you, his exact words are, this is not up for discussion, it's my decision. And that's where it ends.
And I did think of one more thing I had a question about. The properties on Pemberton Road, Linda Perez has them up for sale. She seems to be the mafia of farm ground. So, how is that being sold? Is that commercial? Is it preserved ground? Like, what is it, and how do we stop anything before it can get anywhere?
Well, it can't be preserved ground because preserved ground can only be sold as a farm. So once it's in farmland preservation, and the state releases the money to that owner for that farm to preserve in farmland forever, it can only be sold by that current owner who still maintains the ownership. The state hands them that money and they retain the ownership. They're not selling it to the state. They're just selling development rights to the state, which means it can never be developed. It can only be sold as a farm in the future.
And it still has to be farmed.
Actively farmed.
That's all I have, thank you.
Good evening. I live at 135 Apple Avenue. I'm here tonight because I need help. I need guidance. And I need someone to tell me what's going on. There's a lot of loose cats in the Browns Mills area. Those of us who are animal lovers, and I am an animal lover, people have come from wherever and left dogs and cats and baskets on my front porch. I even accuse the gas man of doing this, all right? During the years of helping out others, find their loved pets, it stuck to me. So that's why I have the name Cat Mom. In the meantime, where I need the guidance is TNR. Why don't we have that in Browns Mills? This is a beautiful township with all this greenery, all this woods, people walking down the streets, cleaning, picking up animals, or even this, by cuddling them as they're picking up trash. Where does TNR come in? That's my question. What can this township do to get that started? I've been here 1,000 years. 1,000 years, and the only thing with actually health-wise is that I have heart problems. But I'm still out there taking care of animals. Are there, or is there anyone, maybe two, maybe 3 people who has an animal? Stand up. Put your hand up. Don't be afraid. Come on. Wouldn't you like to see a TNR here?
Yes, absolutely.
Wouldn't you? Now, some people, they don't understand. These animals, these cats, these dogs, even these annoying deer. I'm not saying I don't like them, Danny. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
For helping the cats.
What?
We actually control them, and we have.
I just want some knowledge as how we can get that started. Okay, we don't wanna be ducking and diving to feed these animals. We just want them to be in a safe environment. Can you help?
So
Tell me what to do.
First off, I'll play you for 1,000 years. Don't take this the wrong way, but you look a lot younger than that. I'll leave it at there. And second off, madam, what I would say is, when me and Mr. Dewey came on board, about 2.5 years ago, I did have a sit down with the county, about TNR. They did help me with a model ordinance that was given to me. I had multiple conversations in my place of work with them over the course of the past 1.5 years, and respect everything that they do. As a council member, when I submitted an ordinance to our previous business administrator, that ordinance was said to me, no. So that's where I'll leave it at that. However, what I can say is, Ms. Kozlowski has some information about TNR that she's gonna deliver to you as well here, just recently, more recently than.
Oh, this is great. So it's good that I came down here. Yeah.
Okay, I
Actually, I had a meeting today with the TNR people regarding getting TNR started in the township, and I now have the model ordinance. I haven't been here 1,000 years, but I have been here 29 years. I will tell you, back in 2008, I did attempt to try and get something started with TNR, but part of that included having cat licensing. Well, it wasn't fine in 2008 because I was vilified, and this was pretty much before Facebook, so I ain't going down that road again. I can tell you that flat out.
Dark city.
Luckily, my conversation, but at that time, back in 2008, the TNR program did require more input financially from the township. That is not the case anymore, which I was happy to learn today. I did just have this conversation with these people today. There was other things that happened today. I haven't had a chance to really digest it all, get with the police department, and give it to township, the council, and the attorney to get things started, but I told them I would definitely be looking into it. I don't know who would have the final say on it, and because depending on what township resources it does require, not financially, but our animal control would have to be involved.
Right, of course.
So, but we are discussing it.
Good. All right, so there is a green light.
Yes, there's a start. There is a start. I did speak with them today. I have the packets on my desk, and it will be discussed and go forward in discussion, but I'm not gonna make any promises, because I have to make sure that everything that these people told me is correct. I'm gonna call other townships to make sure of their experiences with it. Obviously, a TNR program would be very helpful. Our township, along with Willingboro, is two of the largest towns that contribute to the cat population and what gets brought over to the shelter.
Right.
So we know it's an issue. It's been an issue,
Yes.
but
All right, so at this point, what should I do? Should I just wait until there's an announcement, or?
well, what I can ask you, Cat Mom, if you could provide me with your actual name, because if this is something that does get going, the programs will be reaching out to the local people in our community who I know already have a role and stake in getting something done.
Okay.
So, these are like state level organizations
All right.
that I spoke with, at least one today, so,
Okay.
along with two other regional.
I'm going to put it right here on your sheet, okay? My
Okay.
bill.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Made me very happy.
Thank you.
My name is Brian Becker. I'm with Orange Animal Rescue. We're based out of Manalapan. Since I wasn't originally going to speak, I was actually going to speak with you afterwards, but since you brought it up, I figured I might as well come up. When you spoke with the county 2 years ago regarding the TNR program, 2022, I was actually the county's consultant that they brought in to build them a TNR model. The meeting that the clerk had today, I'm not actually privy to some of that information. I know the parties that were involved in there, actually spoke with one of them after that meeting and offered them my assistance to be able to assist a little bit more availability on the ground. my organization offers that program both as a framework, policy, and ordinance-wise, initially for the operational side of it. My background, I have 19 years in animal rescue. I'm also a state certified animal control officer. I am also a former humane officer. I specialize specifically in animal cruelty and hoarding, which anyone that deals with animals, especially cats, you do have a hoarding situation that comes with a lot of situations. As far as the question, you had brought up something prior in regards to licensing with animals, that's something that I do have an expertise in. I do want to offer my office to the township and to the council. Should you have any questions, we're available to you. There's no charge for that. I'm not going to charge you anything as far as that initial consultation. Any question you can have, I'll leave you my cards after the meeting. And you could, more than happy to reach out to myself in my office, and we can assist you in any way possible, whether it's TNR or anything animal welfare. We're happy to assist the town.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, Wanda Knox, Stocktonbridge Road. I wanted to, if you had anything to do with it, I'm sure you did, thank you for the rehabilitation program in Pemberton. I started the process of looking into it in March of 2023. Started the application process in May of 23, was approved in 24, September of 24. Lot of paperwork, lots and lots of paper. A lot of the paperwork I had to do over and over again. I needed a new roof. We all need a little help sometime, right? Needed a new roof desperately, really couldn't come up with the funds to do it. I persisted, I was patient, and we finally got it, the approval. And there was a little holdup, I want to say, with the starting of the work because the contractor had previously done work in Pemberton and hadn't gotten paid. This was from August of 24, and he, when the approval was complete, he basically said he wouldn't start the work until he was paid for the previous work that he had done in August. So he's actually started the work in November, October, end of October, beginning of November. And as far as I know, as last week, he still hasn't gotten paid for our job, which was complete in January. So I was kind of wondering, what's the time frame on them getting paid with that program?
Hi, Mrs. Knox. All the bills have been paid, all the files have been closed out. We pay them as soon as we receive them. They're sent, I put them in the system, I initiate the requisition, I give it first approval, the CFO gives it second approval, and the mayor gives it third approval, and then it goes on council's agenda. We don't hold any of the invoices. Sometimes, they don't get the invoices to us, that could have been the delay, but there was no delay on our part.
Do you know if the invoices come from the contractor themselves, or does it come from the company that does all the paperwork?
Okay, so we get invoices from Acuity, which was the contractor that we used, but Development Directions was a subcontractor to them, and then Development Directions hired contractors. We created vendor accounts for them, we pay them back directly.
Okay. So you're saying he should have been paid?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if he didn't, it would just be a matter of the paperwork not making it.
So all the files are closed out, because the program has expired now. So the new program's gonna be in-house, and the paperwork that you were talking about, we're gonna try to minimize that for the residents, you know, because there was a lot of confusion with the paperwork and going back and forth with somebody from North Jersey. So we're gonna simplify that process. But if he didn't get paid, that means that he didn't submit it, or it's on council's agenda to get approval. But all the bills have been closed out, all the files are closed.
Okay.
And I know your file.
Ah, okay. So, what chance do you know if it was paid?
Everything was paid.
Okay, great.
Everything.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you again.
For public comment this evening.
Good evening, council. Eric Hess, 119 Sunset. I want to thank you guys for getting some of the progress done with the street and some of the clearing done, and getting the pipe removed and filling the trench in with stone. It's a lot better than what it was before. I'm just curious when they're going to come out and just clean the rest of it up and put the pipe back in the ground.
Is that your only question?
No, I got one more. The college property now, I know, like you were saying, you gotta make a move on it, or it's gonna go to waste, or somebody else is gonna buy it. Would that be possible to buy that and turn that into a dog park or agility? I mean, because a lot of people have dogs here, they would love to bring their dog to a park and let it run off the leash if it's fenced in, they could do that there. That's my only question.
That's your second question, Eric?
Yeah,
All right, so Harry, you wanna take his first one, and I'll see if I can answer his
Yeah,
second.
yeah, as far as your, road, project, right now, that's what the, road department is gonna do, they're just gonna leave the stone in place, and they're gonna monitor it and see how the drainage works. If that fixes the problem, there'll be no future work done there, if it doesn't, then they'll come out and correct it. I myself have been out there after every rainstorm since they finished it, just checking, and so has the township people. But they said if they find it's not working sufficiently, then they'll come out and make other adjustments. Okay?
So I'll try to, with Jerry's help probably, Eric, I'll try to answer your second, and catch me when I get off course. But with the college property, right, so that whole property is owned by the county. They own it, right, Eric?
Correct.
So what happens is, they did a land swap for a property in Mount Laurel, so they could build a warehouse in Mount Laurel, right? So they had to swap the open space at a certain percentage more in order to get that taken care of, right? So what they did was they're gonna green space the property in the township here, which means that they could probably, if they wanted to, sure, they could turn it into a walking park and be very nice along the waterways. I'm sure, Dr. Thomas would be, ecstatic if that happened, right? And so would I, because I love to walk the area, and the sand cranes that are over there right now are beautiful birds, right? So if he's a bird whisperer, I'm not, but I know, I can kind of identify him. But in regards to the rest of the property, so I'll just use simple math, that there's, 100 acres that's gonna be preserved for green space, and that leaves 10 acres left, right? Then potentially, there's the potential for somebody to come in and, build whatever they wanna build there. So, where it's not the county's, it's home rule, so to speak, is what it's called. So the county doesn't really, have a dog in the fight, so to speak, when it comes to what's developed there.
Alright.
What our responsibility in the township, at our level, is to sit there and say, okay, well, we have this, there's potential to have this other 10 acres developed. How do we, as a community, wanna see that go? What do we wanna see there? What does it look like, right? And what's ultimately feasible for that leftover space. So then that's all, you would basically go and do a redevelopment or a development plan on that piece of property itself. And then that way there, when a contractor comes in, they say, oh, this is great, the county has this piece of property, I'm gonna buy this 10 acres off the county. Then they come into Pemberton Township, and you go sort of hand in hand kind of say, well, this is what you can do here for the town, this is what you can build here, and you're held to these rules and regulations. Did I do a good job with that?
Very good
Perfect,
job.
see that? That's kind of what I'm seeing now. With that property, it's obviously more than 10 acres left over. And it's not, it's kind of away from the riparian zone, the buffer zone, so to speak, and the wetlands and the pinelands over there. So it's, that's why they're probably gonna tear these places down and leave the foundations there, because it makes it a little bit easier to go ahead and develop that land if they so chose to. But I've been told from members of the county that once they get to that state, and figure out what to do with that piece of property, then I think Pemberton Township will have a hand at the table, so to speak, in helping and assisting the county in doing what we're doing there.
Okay, I mean, I think it would be benefit for the police force too, to bring their dogs in, let dogs run around, you know, other people, you know.
I think it would benefit a
Be
lot
a
of
fenced
people.
in area, you know, let the dog run,
Yeah.
go around the track, you know, you have another area, do whatever you want, and you know, you could even do agility or dog training there.
Yeah. Cool,
That's all.
thank you. Anybody else for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment section out for the season we spoke about in closed session. So, Mr. Pasty.
Thank you, Council President. The council, as you know, I hope you understand, this year the goal is transparency. And they've directed me to talk to you now about a very serious matter of litigation that we have to make a decision in 2 weeks. It takes a little background, so follow me if you could. I'll try to talk slowly. And this is all public knowledge, and in fact, I think it's all known about town now, that the township, through its insurance company, conditionally approved a settlement last night to pay one of the township employees for her lawsuit against the town, the mayor, and the former business administrator. The lawsuit was started by the employee alleging, not sexual, but alleging business, day-to-day harassment, let me just put it to you that way. It got to the point where the mayor fired this employee. The employee appealed that firing to the Township Council, I think in either 23 or 24, and pursuant to the Township Code was reinstated as an employee, but the lawsuit went on. The lawsuit was settled for $550,000. Now that's, for the most part, it's insurance money. But your insurance policy with the JIF, with the Joint Insurance Fund says, and I think this is standard, that if there's a settlement of a case, the township has to pay 20% of the settlement up to no more than $50,000. So at this point, that settlement would require a payment of $50,000 by the town. Now, I know that there's been discussions, certainly up here, certainly at the microphone, about whose fault this lawsuit was and who should really have to be responsible for paying that $50,000. We have to make a decision as to whether the council has to approve any settlement of a litigation. And we have for 2 weeks until I think our meeting is April 2nd to determine if we're going to agree to the settlement, which requires a payment of $50,000. I'm preparing a memo to the council and to the governing body indicating what happens if you do agree with it and what happens if you don't agree with it. If you do agree with it, it's easy for me to say you pay $50,000. I think the insurance company will advance that 50, but they'll get the money back, next premium. But if the town were to, if the council, for instance, were to say, and I'm not making any judgment, that's obviously their decision, no, we don't want to agree to that because we don't want to pay $50,000. Somebody else should pay the $50,000. Well, then the settlement doesn't go through. And then the township has issues because the insurance company, our insurance company, is going to say, we're out of here. We told you we'd settle it. It's all yours. You have $550,000 to play with. Hope you try the case if it comes in less than $550. Because if it comes in at $551, the township pays that extra dollar and whatever else might be involved. At this point, the settlement would not include any payment for what we call punitive damages or intentional damages. Intentional, I really mean to hurt you type damages. If it did, and if there was a trial and there was a finding by a jury that we violated, we being the township, a law against discrimination because the plaintiff was a woman and there was issues in the complaint about that. If we were to find that we intentionally, or somebody, either the town, the mayor, or the administrator, they're the defendants, if they committed intentional malicious acts, then much more than the normal damages would be assessed. The possibility is they could be up to 3 times what the normal assessment, the normal damages would be, plus the attorney's fees to their attorney. Now you're really talking big money. And keep in mind that assuming for the sake of the discussion that the council were to say, no, we're not gonna agree to this, that additional money would come from you. So, we wanted to, I was directed to tell everyone publicly, because it is public now. The lawsuit's been public for a couple of years. The settlement has been public for more than 24 hours. Everybody knows, you know, there's no cat coming out of the hat here. But we wanted to mention all of this to you in terms of transparency, because council's got a tough decision to make in 2 weeks. Because as I indicated previously, we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. If we do, and we agree to settle and pay the $50,000 and pay it out of taxpayer funds, well, I suspect these people are gonna get blamed for that. You know? If we don't, and we take the chance to go further, the monetary issues could be really, really, really difficult for the town if the case goes south. The case was mediated by a very, very distinguished and very good retired judge. Judge Orlando knows what he's doing, he's very good, and he got everybody together. He has indicated that he believes if there's $50,000 to be paid by one of the defendants, the township, the mayor, or Mr. Hornicle, that it should be paid by the township. The reason being that the allegations in the complaint are that what the plaintiff complained of was done during town time, so to speak. We have, like almost all towns, an indemnification ordinance. We indemnify our employees if they get sued for normal day-to-day type stuff. If a police officer is in a police car, and God forbid he's in a crash and he hurts somebody, and that person sues the town, they sue the police officer. Well, we defend the police officer because he was doing something in his official capacity, and that's what he does. The judge who now, by the same token, and this would never happen, if that police officer was drunk driving the police car and he has the accident and he's sued, well, the town may not be indemnifying him because that's not what police officers are supposed to do. That's not his line of duty. And I'm not in any way disparaging any of the policemen. So the judge who tried to settle the case and knock heads together believes, there's not a ruling, but he believes that the allegations raised by the employee were that things occurred to her by township people during township time. There was no sexual harassment issue as far as I know. There were other issues. The woman was fired, she voted properly, the council brought her back together. That's the kind of, and the judge felt that this should be a township responsibility, not one of the individual's responsibility. Because the allegations are that this all occurred by township people during township time in the normal course of township stuff. So, this council, we discussed it this evening because this proposed settlement, or conditional settlement just came up, just was approved last night at 6 or 7 o'clock. And the township council has a decision that we have to make in 2 weeks, next meeting, as to whether or not we're going to support the settlement, and if not, what happens. So, the council instructed me to let everybody know because we didn't want to show up 2 weeks from now and adopt a resolution to do something, and everybody says, what are you talking about? This is what we're talking about. And this came up last night, and we have 2 weeks to make a determination. We're preparing, my office is preparing a memorandum to the council indicating the what ifs, if you go this way or if you go that way. And then, stay tuned. So now you know what we know, and as taxpayers, you have a right to know.
Thank you.
Hey, Jerry, I just have one question.
Yeah.
So what you're telling, the judge decided that neither one of the people named in the lawsuit are responsible for not one dime?
No, he didn't decide that.
Okay.
He gave his opinion.
His opinion.
Because, and it might be the right opinion, but he was there to settle the case.
I
You know?
understand.
So he's
I just
knocking all
wanted
the
to
heads
be
together.
clear on that.
And, he urged everyone to
To
come to
settle.
the understanding that this is a township, not an individual obligation to post the 50,000, because the allegations are that the individual defendants didn't do anything, extraordinarily out of the regular course of events, or course of duties. Now, he didn't make a ruling, Harry, that's effectively, you guys are gonna make the ruling, but, so there you are.
Okay, thank you, Jerry.
Councilman Dewey?
Jerry, for the record, how many more cases do we have in front of us?
Yeah.
I know of two more, and I know of two more, let's leave it like that. Right now, there's two more.
Okay, so I'd like to thank the solicitor for that. You know, again, like you said, it's one thing that we've discussed, is transparency with the community. And that means a lot to us. So that's a decision that we're all gonna be making in about 2 weeks, so. Wish we didn't have to, but it is what it is, unfortunately. So we'll move on to the, meeting minutes.